Day 10 in Paris, and positions up for grabs in the final four, some of the most coveted spots in tennis.
Live on Facebook, YouTube, the official website and app. Welcome to Live on Roland-Garros. It's lovely to have you with us. Also with us in the studio this evening, former world number 5 Daniela Hantuchova. And then we add in all this and we have a packed show on its way. It's a 31st Grand Slam semi-final for the 11-time champion.
And Roger rules the all-Swiss battle.
While Conter crushes Stevens for a final four place. Welcome to Live at Roland-Garros. Do use the hashtag RG19 if you'd like to get in touch with us. Our first port of call, though, is straight to Susan Longland, where Eli is waiting for us with the result just in. Eli.
Hey guys, you just missed it, just by inches. Third time lucky. He had 3 match points, and on the third one, he managed to convert it. He came up to the net. Actually, Wawrinka had 1 breakback point, but Roger Federer put a delicious drop shot volley that Wawrinka could only get to just after the second bounce. Explosion of joy here on the court. Roger coming from all over, all the stands. He's clearly the favorite. The guy is favorite in every tennis court in the world he plays on, pretty much. Even in France against a French player, the guys, they're rooting for Federer. He's now giving his speech in perfect French, obviously. You know, he's not only a master during the game, but he's also a master after the game with the microphone. I mean, he's like Mr. Perfect. He's Superman. He's Roger Federer, and he's through to the semifinals.
Federer's first Roland-Garros semi-final since 2011.
Yeah, he was happy. Like, he showed more emotion than usual. He was happy, but at the same time, he showed a little bit of sympathy to his compatriot, to Stan Wawrinka. He didn't celebrate too much. He did put both arms up in the air, which kind of, you know, shows a little more emotion than usual. Then there was a nice hug with Wawrinka at the net. He threw the ball into the crowd, threw his headband, he threw his wristbands. Yeah, he's happy. He's in the semifinals, and we have our Federer.
Yeah, we certainly do. He must be ecstatic, Eli. Thank you for that. We'll, of course, cover that and the opinion story to follow. But Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer will meet in the semifinals. And Daniela, we were watching with bated breath here in the studio as that happened. What a 4-set win today for Roger Federer.
I mean, what an incredible way to finish that match. I mean, we were all watching it here, and I completely agree there with Eli. I mean, he is such a champion, not only on the court, but off the court. His reaction, he is super happy to be into his first semifinals since 2011, but at the same time trying not to celebrate too much because he's playing against Stan and trying to give him respect. But you can just see how much this win means to him, lifting his both arms up. You don't see that too often from Roger. And also Ivo Lubicic there in his box, also super happy. So they knew this was going to be the toughest task for now, and we've got all we wanted, that semi-final.
I thought it was interesting what you actually said to us during that when he was trying to serve it out, saying playing someone you know so well, it's so difficult because you each know what the other one's going to do.
Exactly. That's where, to me, this kind of match, I don't even know where you start to prepare tactically, because they know each other so well, these two guys. So is it like, okay, I know what you're going to do, so I'm going to surprise you, but then I know that, you know, that I've done the last 20 times we play against each other. So that's why I think that reaction of Ivan Lubicic after the match just shows how well they had to prepare for this match. And yeah, I mean, it's so hard when you know your opponent so well. And it was wonderful to see how much respect they gave each other during the match as well.
Daniela, it was a bruising battle throughout, but to me the important part was this third set. This is just at the beginning of the third, but combined they hit 42 winners in that third. They were playing lights-out tennis. Federer sneaks it out in a tiebreak, and maybe, just maybe, Stan started to feel it in his legs a little bit. Yeah,
I mean, the tiebreak in the third set was crucial, and that's when you are 2-1 down against Federer, you start to feel the tiredness, even though you don't want to. And to me, every single point, there was so much tension. You can see, I mean, the balls that Roger was reaching out for was just incredible. And the intensity, I don't know how much Stan will need time to recover after this match and the tournament in general, but what an effort, and he's got to be really proud when he leaves the site tonight, and what the Roland-Garros he has had as well.
Yeah, certainly. It was the 26th time they were meeting. Roger now moves to 23-3. And of course, as Gigi mentioned, now into a first semifinal here in Paris since 2011. And I think that now we've got a couple days to get ready for, well, the Roger-Rafa matchup on Friday.
And it's wonderful that the sun came out at the end of that, because if you're just joining us, think, what a lovely sunny day. We had this horrific storm. It was like it was midnight and the trees were swaying and the rain was thumping down, which did give us a little pause in these matches. And for Rafa Nadal, he was so frustrated because he was on the verge of defeating Kei Nishikori in what had been, up to that point, Daniela, a flawless performance from the 11-time champion.
Yeah, I think he was trying anything to get out of the court before the rain storm came. And I mean, the way he played the first two sets, there was nothing Kei could have done. I mean, he was, I think, a little bit tired from all the battles he had, Kei, before coming into this match. And if your tank is not full playing against Rafa in the second week in Roland-Garros, you will always be in trouble. But, you know, we have to give him credit for trying to stay in the match and be mentally tough and, you know, trying to figure out how to get at least few games of Rafa. But when he's playing the way he's done today, there is really nothing that Kei could have done.
Because people say this could be the toughest task in sport, in world sport, beating Nadal over the best of 5 sets on Philippe Chatrier. So if you're not feeling 100%, if the tank is missing a little something, boy, does that task get tougher.
Plus, adding to that, it was windy, it was humid, it was heavy conditions. So adding all those things together, pretty much impossible for Kei to do anything about it today.
Yeah, Nishikori had a little bit of an arm issue as well. He was treated midway through the match. And Rafael Nadal now a perfect 1-0 as a 33-year-old. How about that?
Of course, we had the birthday cake yesterday.
It's
I was trying to
undefeated.
find someone else who had a birthday today to see if we could get some more cake in the studio. That didn't work out, but for Rafa Nadal, this is going to be a 31st Grand Slam semi-final. It is also his 91st match win at Roland-Garros. It's absolutely incredible, and it means he goes into the semi-final, like Roger Federer, having dropped just one set, that being in the match against David Goffin.
Yeah, I think they are going to go into the semifinals. It's kind of similar conditions for both of them, so it will be so interesting. I think we all can't wait for that match to start.
It's the match everybody wanted to see, and it's the match we are all going to see. Delight on the face of the Spaniard. He came back when they resumed, and he got the job done pretty quickly. First into the semi-finals earlier today was Johanna Konta. Before this year, she had never won a match at Roland-Garros, Daniela. Today, she crushed last year's finalist Sloane Stephens.
She did indeed, and to me this is the best match I've ever seen Johanna playing, and that is very impressive given the situation she was in, playing her quarterfinals for the first time, and she just never looked back in the match. From the first point till the last, she was dominating the court, never gave any chance to Sloane to even try to come back, and to me she found a beautiful balance between going for her shots but at the same time trying to be patient in the rallies and staying within herself. And I'll tell you what, if she keeps playing the same way, which is obviously very difficult going to be, I can't see anyone stopping her.
And it starts with that run. You mentioned this. It starts with that run to the final in Rome. She's carried that momentum on the red clay. She'd never won a match at Roland-Garros, and now she's into the semi-finals.
Yeah, third Grand Slam semi-final. And afterwards, we managed to get a few words with her coach, Dmitry Zaviolov.
What a great game she played today. I know she, in the past, didn't do so well here, but I'm not surprised with the way she's playing now. And I always expect her to win. And the quality of what she's doing is really high level.
And afterwards, behind the scenes, a hug for her coach. Following that, a hug for her boyfriend, Jackson, who travels with her now. And it's, again, really nice to see this footage.
Yeah, I mean, these are, once again, those most special moments that you work hard for. And I got to say, Dimitri, her coach, is one of the best to me on women's tour. If I was still playing, for sure, I would be giving him a call, because he just has this calmness around him, and also the way he treats his player. Obviously, he worked with Stan in the past for 17 years. Then he worked with Timea Baczynski for 5 years, and whoever he works with, they seem to be doing really well. And the way he approaches that relationship is that he let the players to be in the lead, and he asks them questions and suggestions. So he makes them to be really the main part of that, which is very important because sometimes you don't get that. Sometimes the coach tries to be the dominant one and he insists on the player, especially we are talking about women's tour. He wants them to do things the way that he thinks is the best, where with Dimitri, he's very smart because he talks to Johanna and she's a super smart girl. So I think that helps her to grow not only as a player, but as a person as well. And I think that's huge. So they are doing extremely well.
Congratulations to Konta.
Yes, certainly. They've been together since October, and it's working very well. Okay, we've got 3 match winners. We've got another match to come on court here very soon. But let's go now and check out what's going on social media. Okay, first up, well, rain delays are part of the story no matter where you go, but I loved this moment of Stan and Roger, and out comes Wayne McEwen onto the court. And how about this, Daniela? Just to arm around Wayne as they talked about maybe a rain delay coming.
I mean, this is where that respect that they've got between each other is just at the best. I don't know any other player-to-player relationship that can show better the fair play and how much they respect each other. And it's just a beautiful moment of our sport, and you don't see that very often. So, yeah, that's a good one.
And I think Stan was hoping for a little bit of a rest, which he then
More
got
rest.
because there was that rain delay. Now, next up, have a listen to this. This is Sasha Zverev faces Novak Djokovic tomorrow. He was on his way to do an interview with Tennis Channel when he recorded this video.
You guys just got off my match with Fabio Fognini into the quarterfinals for Roland-Garros again. I'm very happy. Finishing my day off with Tennis Channel, and see you guys out here in 2 days.
And Daniela, we decided last night, no more talking about Zverev at Grand Slams and problems. It's okay. He's doing okay.
He is doing just fine. And I like the way he's relaxed. He seems just much calmer.
Yeah.
I think that tournament win before coming to this tournament was huge for him. And I think now everyone's, stopping to talk about and giving him a hard time when he's going to win the first one. And I have a good feeling about him. Whether it's going to happen here in Roland-Garros, I don't think so. But within the next 2 years, I think he will be lifting a Grand Slam trophy.
Okay, interesting. I like that hot take. Last but not least in social media, Luca Pui's out of this tournament, but he's in the Road to Roland-Garros car, and check this out. He's trying out his singing pipes.
Allons enfants de la patrie, le jour de gloire est arrivé.
Is he singing the Marseillaise while tapping a bongo?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Precisely. How's he doing?
That's very brave. Not so sure, but good for him. Yeah, when you're bored in the traffic, why not? Hey.
Yeah, very
Just
good.
like
And
the way he had the flag draped around his
yeah,
shoulders.
it's great. And you
very
can see
nice.
more of the Road to Roland-Garros on our YouTube channel for Roland-Garros.
Now, it's time for us to check back in with Eli, but I know we're waiting for another match, Eli, to come on court, but the first thing I want to ask about is the weather. It suddenly feels like it's got a little bit dark and a little bit more breezy.
No. We're good. The weather is fine. There are a few clouds, but nothing, no threatening clouds. Marketa Vondrousova and Petra Martic have come on court. This is the last quarterfinal of the day. I just wanted to tell you about how that match ended real quick to go back to the Federer-Wawrinka. And Federer's speech was interesting because after the handshaking and Wawrinka leaving the court, being clapped by the crowd, obviously, Federer answered to Cédric Pioline on court. And he said something really interesting. He said, I guess that I came back to Roland-Garros in order to play Rafa. So he divulged basically something that an ambition of his, that was maybe his motivation to come back and get maybe not a final chance at Rafa at Roland-Garros, but probably one of the last times. He also, before that, he said something funny. He was like, yeah, I think the guy I'm playing next does pretty well on clay. So he obviously knew already that Rafa was through, which is also interesting because Pioline hadn't mentioned it. And I also want to give you another piece of inside information. This is during the rain delay. I was in the players' lounge, actually, and I was getting information saying to me that play was going to resume in 5 or 10 minutes, and it was 5 to 6, which means they were hoping play to resume at 6:05. And who do I see walking into the restaurant to get some fruit? Stan Wawrinka in Court Philippe Chatrier, so the other side of the venue. It was interesting. So he's a relaxed guy. He just walked across the venue, got himself a bowl of fruit, and came back to Suzanne Lenglen.
Okay, Eli, thank you for that insight, both on Federer and on Stan. And Danielle, it makes me think of a rain delay, even a brief one there. Stan coming back to have a little snack, but he was probably doing whatever he could to recharge for the match.
Yeah, exactly. No, for sure, both guys were taking something to eat, because during the rain delays, that's actually a good time to fill yourself up. And obviously, Stan needed much more after that 5-hour match in his previous round. And many times, especially the top players, they've got their locker rooms in the center court, so that was understandable that he would walk over there to, sometimes though your team would do that for you, but maybe he just needed to calm his head and be by himself for a little bit. And, they also know when they really will be on the court, so I'm sure he had enough time to come back to Susan Langland.
Well, that was the battle of the one-handed backhands today, Stan versus Roger, and that leads us into our daily question. So there it is. What is a better shot on clay, the one-handed backhand or the two-handed backhand? And we know that Roger and Stan both have the one-hander. A guy named Rafael Nadal has a pretty good two-hander. Where do you stand on this, specifically on clay?
Since it's clay, I'm maybe 51 double-handed to 49 one-handed.
Ooh, that's
just
close.
because the ball bounces higher, so you have to have extremely strong shoulders to be able to hit through on that one-handed backhand. But it's only just by 2% that I'm giving it to the two-handed backhands.
Well, we've got the vote of the poll to come a little bit later, but first we also got some thoughts of some familiar faces and what is better on clay, the one or the two-hander?
Obviously, the one-handed backhand is the better looking shot, in my opinion, if you ask me, no question about it. But the two-hander has some advantages. I think for the second serve, kick serve coming up high to the backhand, the left hand stepping in, as we see Djokovic do so well, Del Potro do pretty well. I mean, the two-handers have a little bit of an advantage there, can maybe create a little bit more speed sometimes with the left hand using that. But the one-handers on clay, if they move well and the ball bounce, to the hip height and really spin it, like let's say a Dominic Thiem or like a Stan Wawrinka, and then you have the variation like a Roger Federer with the slice and the drop shot, never really knowing what's coming. I think it's a very, very nice shot, especially on clay. I think you can use it quite well.
The variety that he can create with the with the one hand over the two hands, I think is much greater, and it's just aesthetically so pleasing. But you can find angles with the one hand that you cannot do with two hands. On the other hand, you can defend better with the two hands than one hand. When you're hitting over the ball, timing-wise, it's much easier to handle the topspin, getting on top of the ball with two. So it's whatever really suits your personality, your style. But again, it's easier for guys than the women.
You cannot slice it, because once you start to slice with two-handed backhand, then you start to destroy your shot. And the guys one-handed backhand, it's easier for them to mix it up. So you can spin, you can slice. So it's more advantages probably with one-handed backhand, but in some other stuff, for example, return, it's easier to return with two-handed backhand.
Okay, it sounds like our experts are split, 51-49 as well. So let's go ahead and see what you thought. We put this out on Twitter and on Instagram, and we had nearly 15,000 votes of our daily question, which is better on clay, the one-hander or the two-hander? And it's actually 51% there for the one-handed and 49% for the two-handed.
There you go. Yeah, it depends so much also on your body, how strong you are in your upper body especially. So I just feel like with a two-handed, I agree with Marat, maybe to return, it's easier because you just have much more power and can stay more stable. As far as reach, though, I would think one-handed backhand, it's easier on clay to reach to more balls. You have more variety as well. To me, well, unless you are Roger or Stan, it's easy with the two hands, especially when you use your left hand well, to create more angles. So, yeah, it's 1-2%. It depends also, like Martina said, what do you really like, what kind of style you prefer. And yes, I got to say, the one-handed is better looking one.
That is the closest vote we have had. For tomorrow's daily question, keep an eye on the Twitter account and the Insta story of Roland-Garros, and we'll get that out to you, and then we will discuss it tomorrow night. The time has come to check in with Camille Pain, who this evening is focusing on a Roland-Garros champion.
Hi Hi guys and welcome to Roland-Garros. As you can see today, those guys are playing. But me, I wanted to focus on a lady today. And I chose, of course, Simona Halep, who won the tournament last year. She's one of the best on clay. And why is she that good? Well, first, she has a huge footwork and you need it on clay to go backward and forward to get the ball and get closer to the net. She's also sliding very nicely. She slides and she knows how to stop to play a very good shot. Who can beat her here in Roland-Garros this year? Well, we could see Johanna Konta, the British girl, playing really aggressive strokes. We can see that today against Sloane Stephens. And so she won't allow Simona Halep to have long rallies to get into the rhythm. Secondly, you can see Petra Martic or Ashley Barty being aggressive with another style, with short angles, with drop shots, with slice backhand to change the speed of the ball. We can see also the young Czech girl Markéta Vondrousová, the lefty one, using power but also short cross-court angle, and this would bother a lot Simona Halep. As you can see, some girls are here to try to fight and win against the former champion.
Simona Halep there, and how she's so good on clay. Thank you so much for that, Camille. And actually, Simona, we're going to stay right there with our defending champ. She is who we're chatting with tonight in our Bonjour La France feature.
You've been to France a number of times. You know the country. We're going to test your knowledge.
Okay. Teddy? Teddy.
Teddy Riner.
Yeah, Teddy
Very
Riner. He looked different yesterday.
Big guy.
Yeah.
Okay, second pile. Now we move to a different category.
Oh, I love this.
What is it?
I'm eating every day this one.
Do you know what we call it in France?
No.
Gratin dauphinois.
Oh, yeah.
Can you repeat? Gratin dauphinois.
Gratin dauphinois.
Very good. Very good. Okay, next pile.
Pyramids.
Where is that? Do you
Here.
know?
I don't know where.
What museum?
Louvre.
Very
I never
good.
been.
Very good. You've been there? No?
I have to stop tennis and then going to visit.
So, what is this?
Les Miserables.
Who wrote it? Do you know?
Fight,
You know Les
dream,
Miserables, right?
hope.
The Miz?
Yeah, I know, but
Victor?
Hugo. Victor Hugo.
Very good. Okay, you're
Not
bad.
Not bad, huh?
Not
But
bad.
not easy.
Daniela, how would you do if we did, and we're not going to, a Bonjour La France with you? How well do you think you do? How well do you know France?
Well, given that I've lived in Monaco for the last 17 years, I think I could do pretty well. And
You're
I
gonna
love
ace it.
Paris. You know, I've been here so many times, and I've done all of the touristic places as well. You know, I wasn't like Simona that made it all the way to the finals, so I had time to discover.
So Daniela would ace Bonjour La France. It's time for you to listen in and watch it in the latest of our series of RG Confidential.
So what's in a year? Actually, if you look at Roland-Garros' history, quite a lot. The nines, we can call them, have been persistently, consistently bizarre. And if you look at the calendar, the year is 2019. While 1989 marked the first time in Roland-Garros history that two teenagers had won the singles title, 10 years later was epic. Martina Hingis' meltdown in the final, Steffi Graf winning her final major crown in her career, and Andre Agassi coming back from 2 sets to love down to win his Roland-Garros title. Then came 2009. Rafael Nadal was unbeaten in over 30 matches at Roland-Garros until he came up against the Swede, Robin Soderling, in the 4th round.
Remember that Rafa was absolutely untouchable on the clay. In 2008, he beat Roger Federer in what was less a match than a tennis clinic. He comes in 2009 and he gets upset, not in the final, not in the semifinals, but in the middle of the tournament by Robin Soderling, a player who he had a little bit of sort of agito, a conflict with. But the big story was this seemed to open the door to Roger Federer winning the career slam. And with Nadal out of the way, you sort of had a feeling things would break toward Roger. And it wasn't easy. There were some 5-setters tucked in there. But this opened the door, and Roger was able to knock off the career slam in 2009.
In the women's event, it was an unexpected winner as well, as Svetlana Kuznetsova, the number 7 seed, won her first major in 5 years. So we've arrived at another 9, and already it's been a year to remember. The Stan Tsitsipas Classic, Osaka going out, Serena being stunned, and more. But the great memories in a tournament are usually made in the last few days. So what will we remember in 10 years' time? Let's go ahead and find out. Okay, we don't know what it is about the 9s, but what do you think we're going to remember from 2019? Maybe it hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah, I don't think it has happened yet. As you said, everything to remember, it's going to happen from semifinals onwards and then obviously on the weekend. So I think those are going to be the highlights that we'll remember for a long time, just like we always do after Grand Slam.
Yeah, so 2029, what are we going to remember in 10 years' time? It's now for our final time this show, time to check in with Eli Weinstein.
Hey guys, you can keep looking for me courtside. I decided I wanted to get a better view of this place, of this amazing venue, of this amazing tournament that is Roland-Garros. From here, I can see all the way to court 14, court Suzanne Lenglen, court Philippe Chatrier, court number 1, oh my god, I don't like to look down. Behind me, court Simone Mathieu, and all around me, Paris. Anyways, the reason I'm here, you want to wonder? It's very simple. Daniela, can you explain this picture to me?
Oh no.
Okay.
Seriously, there was actually one that I was standing on that thing. Literally, it was for 1 second, but I managed. But yes, typical. You know, the first time I do a surfing lesson, it's got to be with a world champion or something. And
wow.
Yeah,
this
Kelly
was in
Slater,
Brisbane,
right?
yes. And the waves were not good that day. That's all I can say. That's my excuse there. But I have to say, it's so much harder than what it looks. And I have so much respect for this sport and the guys, what they're able to do out there. So, yes, I need more lessons, though.
And can I just say that Eli did make it safely down from the crane. We have tomorrow's order of play for you. We're going to complete our semi-final lineups by the end of today. The weather forecast needs not great, but hopefully we're just going to keep our fingers crossed. Simona Halep kicking things off on court Philippe Chatrier, then Novak Djokovic against Sasha Zverev. Madison Keys faces off against Ash Barty, and then Dominic Thiem against Karen Khachanov, who confirmed that his wife is quite heavily pregnant. It looked like Veronica, as he told the crowd on Susan Longland. But we are missing a match on that order of play.
Oh, that's right.
We are missing
a featured match.
A featured
tomorrow.
match tomorrow.
You guys, you actually mentioned that. Come on.
You've got an announcement. Come on.
Would you like to announce it to everybody?
I don't know if this deserves an announcement, but yes, I'm really pleased that and feel really privileged. It's always so nice to be able to play the legends. So I just got told today, and I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to start all tomorrow. So if you want to have a laugh, yes, make sure you come.
Well, that's going to be top of our highlights.
And Eli
tomorrow.
will be courtside.
Eli will be courtside, showing pictures, saying, Daniela, what picture is this?
I have to say, other than your match tomorrow is set to be a great quarterfinal lineup.
Yeah.
There's all four of those matches are fantastic, and it's going to be a really, really exciting day of tennis. We're going to be right here back with you tomorrow night from 7 p.m. local, and we're hoping that you'll all join us for a wrap of the day.
Absolutely. YouTube, Facebook, the official website or app. Daniela will be here, fresh from her exploits in the Legends. We'll have all the highlights if the action is still going on. We will also be courtside. So whatever you do, make sure you join us tomorrow night from 7 p.m. Bye for now.